Welcome back to my Liminal World. My name is Natasha. I am so excited you're here today. I recently completed studies with an intensive research project on the topic of life transitions. During that time, I've gained incredible knowledge and deep insights. I knew I couldn't just keep them to myself. So I decided to expand my project by starting a brand new conversation. And the topic is navigating personal identity shifts within an ever-changing world. Wherever you live on this planet right now, your external world is under ongoing reconstruction. It is changing fast. In one way or the other or another, this constant flux affects you, or it soon will. That's why I want to talk about it. But let me first give you some context on how I landed here. Throughout my life, I have experienced several massive personal transitions. I have become a student, a professional, a wife, a parent, an immigrant, then again professional. I approach all of these changes with openness and curiosity. They stimulated my growth. They deepened my life's meaning. They connected me fully to the outside world. But I also underwent some intense collective transitions, and global health crisis with the global lockdown was just one of them, and it wasn't the hardest for me. 3 decades ago, a civil war in my birth country of Yugoslavia destroyed my society, destroyed my culture, my entire worldview. It imposed uncontrollable and unwanted changes. They contracted my life. At a very early age, I faced extreme difficulties. My ties to my own society, let alone the broader world, were severed. For years, I grappled with inner instability, insecurity, and a total lack of belonging. So every time I talk about transitions, I'm making a huge difference between personal and collective shifts. Within this collective transition, I felt profound loneliness and helplessness. While my external world was changing, I felt there was nothing solid to hold on to. There was no clear path forward, nothing emerged. Personal transitions are different. They may end one identity, but they will quickly offer you a blueprint for a new one. You usually have systems, organizations, even loved ones to support you. During the collective shifts, at least I experienced them as sometimes complete chaos, a lot of ongoing deconstructions and which you cannot understand, and there is a lot of social fragmentations. The voices in my society were dangerously polarized, and I remember oscillating between being extremely sad about it or extremely angry. So after a while, I just withdrew. I didn't trust anyone. I disconnected. And if you want, I was in self-imposed self-isolation, where I struggled to find meaning, to find my path forward. So whether by coincidence or fate, navigating transitions became a central theme of my life. Over and over, I had to start anew. I had to adjust to new circumstances, new situations, new cultures, new roles. I had to set up new goals. So for years, I felt like someone who would never reach stillness and stability. I honestly believed I was cursed to live in this liminal space where I couldn't relate to other people. What I didn't know back then was that all of these transitions were reshaping my core. Being pushed in various directions taught me how to adjust. I had to find a way to integrate within different communities and professional settings. During that time, I actually gained a lot of practical skills. I I built a deep inner emotional resilience, and I also gain, if you want, a spiritual understanding of transitions. Like, for example, the art of surrender. I struggled with that. I often ask myself, how am I supposed to commit to this messy process? And also, I had to give up control of the destination. Little did I know that the entire world would eventually, end up on the exact same page. Little did I know that there are phenomenal scholars out there who are actually trying to deconstruct this or trying to understand the massive shifts that were happening in professional spheres, in our workplaces, organizations, institutions for the last 30 years. So rapid cultural changes are our reality. They are changing our collective identities across the globe. Every country is currently dealing with the massive shifts in economy, politics, ideology, and also social fabric. So our societies are in constant flux, and new problems are arising on their own, and they challenge communities, organizations, institutions, leaders, governments. To survive, from what I can tell, they are forced to do two things. They either have to constantly improve what's already there, what's already exists, or they have to experiment with something new. And both strategies are good. Both are valid. Both are needed, because both of them are actually actively birthing a new world. But now we have to talk what is happening with an individual. And I would say exactly the same. Whether one wants or not, whether one likes or not, whether one is ready or not, we must make those changes. We must commit to making ongoing improvements. Or I think we are all called to take charge of our lives and make something new, create some, or envision some new world, and try developing those skills and clearing the path for yourself. But also through my own experience, I know how a lot of people are probably struggling with how to do so, and that struggle is valid. For example, during my recent research, I looked at how traditional societies were dealing with handling change. What I found out is that changes were always seen like inseparable, inevitable part of life. So people knew that an individual, every member of community, will at certain time, certain age, go through phases and transition from one position to another, in which during that transition they will get a new role, they will become more responsible for themselves and community. So because changes were seen as vital for the life of the individual, but also for the revival and life of the community, society guarded those changes. Traditional societies used to have a sacred class, which they called elders. Elders were putting different rituals and ceremonies in place that would help individual transition more smoothly, but also not only transition, re-enter the society, integrate within society, and they made sure that society is also ready for the integration. And this is actually, when I thought about that, I was like, this is actually where my project comes in. I guided myself because I didn't have guidance around me. I didn't have a blueprint. Nobody was able to tell me how to. I guided myself through some chaotic times, and I mapped out my own blueprint for surviving and thriving. And then in 2025, I actually researched academic concept to back it up. So with my project, I tend to do two things. First is to share this theoretical concept, because I love them. They're so useful. A lot of those ideas help me understand transitions on a deeper level. They allow me to go back, to revisit some of my life experiences and actually see them through different lenses. But I also want to share my personal story, and I want to say the whole truth. I used to share only happy endings of transitions, like the lessons I learned, the people I met, the cultures I embrace, my breakthroughs, my personal, professional achievements. But true transformation requires looking at the pain. It is so hard to be in that in-between space when you don't know how, you feel disoriented, you feel left outside alone, you feel completely inadequate. And plus, you must guide yourself through that process. And you sometimes and often, because our communities are becoming more and more cross-cultural, you have to deal with biases and exclusion. So my project is going to be the space for the whole truth. Once a week, I will release a video on a specific topic of transition or transitional topic, whether professional, cross-cultural, or deeply intimate. And I'll do my best to share how it feels like to be in the thick of the process. I hope you will enjoy my videos. I hope you will join the conversation. Thank you for watching. One more time, my name is Natasha, and I welcome you to my Liminal World.